This page is the front cover of a Nintendo 64 magazine from February 2001. It advertises a Game Boy special featuring Dragon Quest II and Pokémon Crystal. The cover also promotes Nintendo 64 games, specifically Banjo-Kazooie, which is likely referring to Banjo-Tooie in English, Pokémon Stadium Gold and Silver, and Mario Party 3. Other Game Boy games are also listed, such as Tales of Phantasia, Narrated Dungeon, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Children, and Dorururu Araga. The cover image features a girl in a kimono, surrounded by various game characters, including Pikachu and Marill. This page is the contents page for the February issue, showcasing features such as a year-end software catalog and strategy guide, with highlighted games like Game Boy Dragon Quest II, Pokémon Crystal, and Tales of Phantasia, Narrated Dungeon. It also details sections for Game Boy item introductions featuring Pokesta Gold and Silver and Banjo-Tooie, strategy guides for Pokémon Stadium Gold and Silver and Banjo-Tooie, and a new release flash including Mickey's Racing Challenge USA and Power Poke 3. There's a Dengeki Game Boy Advance section covering games like Power Pro Kun Pocket 3 and Rockman EXE. Regular features include present announcements, hot game previews, and new release lists. The page also includes an index of software featured in the issue and a guide to game genre abbreviations used within the magazine. The next page showcases Kemco brand accessories for the Game Boy Color. It features Pikachu protectors to keep your Game Boy Color safe from scratches, and various Pokemon-themed link cables, including Pikachu and Pichu designs, as well as customizable character kits for the cables. The prices are listed at 980 yen for the protector and 1,980 yen for the link cables, and they are currently on sale. The next page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Color game Hamster Paradise 3. This game lets you choose from 3 types of hamsters: Golden, Jangarian, and Roborovsky. You can breed hamsters, explore large maps, and enjoy lots of minigames. It was released on December 15, 2000, and the price is 4,300 yen. It is a Game Boy Color exclusive cartridge by Atlas, described as a nurturing simulation and minigame collection for one player. This page is a Game Boy special feature focused on games for the year-end and New Year holidays. It highlights recommended software with strategy guides to make the winter Game Boy selection easy. The page showcases various Game Boy titles including Dragon Quest II, Pokémon Crystal, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Children, Tales of Phantasia, Narikiri Dungeon, and Hamster Paradise 3. Other games mentioned are Super Meme GB Miracle Bear's Happy Mail Town, Hamster Club Activities 2, Mario Tennis, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, Grandia, Parallel Trippers, Momotaro Legend 1 and 2, Pia Carrot EU Koso 2.2, and Sylvanian Families 2, Colorful Forest Fantasy. The feature also mentions upcoming software releases for the year-end and New Year period, and provides an introduction to items to enhance the Game Boy life. The overall theme encourages readers to enjoy Game Boy gaming during the winter holidays, with a selection of fun titles and helpful strategy tips. The next page is a strategy guide for Dragon Warrior 2i on Game Boy Color. It focuses on the early parts of the game and explains key locations on the map. The guide starts in Eliahan, where players are instructed to meet the king and report on their adventure. It mentions physical recovery is possible at home and advises players to register companions at Ruid's Tavern, where you can register up to 3 companions initially, and more on the second floor. Leve Village is highlighted as a base for dungeon exploration. The guide then details the Cave of Jamie, noting its simple structure but warning against carelessness, and Najimi's Tower, recommending players use the inn as a base to conquer it. It also points out a caution monster called O-Oriki, which appears in the Cave of Jamie, and advises players to run if it appears in groups due to its high HP and attack power, although its appearance rate is low. This page showcases locations within a role-playing game, likely a guide for players. It details various areas like the inviting cave, which requires breaking walls and holds treasure, and the town of Romaria in the northwest, a lively hub for leveling up equipment and meeting the king. Kazave, a mountain village north of Romaria, is rumored to have had a one-hit kill item for sale. The challenging Champagne Tower, a 6-story structure with strong monsters, is also featured. Noannual, the northernmost quiet village where everyone sleeps, and the Noannual West Cave, with a healing spring perfect for leveling up, are described. Finally, the Elf Hidden Village, located west of Noannual, has a tool shop inaccessible to humans but with valuable items, and Asaram, a town known for its weapon and armor shops, where haggling is possible and belly dancing can be seen at night. Throughout these locations, Common enemies like Denkigeki, Danron, Pierre, and Rosa appear. This guide details locations in Dragon Quest II. Isis is an oasis town with a castle containing adventure logs and rumored treasures. The pyramid is filled with traps. Use the recall spell if needed, and search for 24 treasures. In Portoga, the king requests a product from the east, and the town has hidden stairs. To obtain Baharat's famous product, players must open a shop by gathering information that the Baharat Eastern Cave is a 2-level maze. Beware of killer machines, and use defense-lowering spells. Finally, the Dharma Shrine allows job changes. Aries. After level 20, characters can change jobs, resetting to level 1 but retaining learned spells. Available jobs include warrior, martial artist, mage, priest, merchant, thief, minstrel, and sage. This page is an advice section focusing on Dragon Quest II. It gives 4 key points of advice for players. Point 1. Explains where to find the magic ball item. It suggests seeking information from people and searching for an old person's location, as it is a famous tool. Point 2. Details how to enter Engine Bear Castle. Aries. It mentions that soldiers will block entry, so players need to deceive them. It advises looking for a way to trick the guards using an item. Point 3. Concerns finding the large shrine in Lancel. It states that while there's no shrine visible in the village, other travelers are also looking for it. The advice suggests it might be hidden in the surrounding trees, and to explore the outside areas of the village thoroughly. Point 4. Discusses bringing a merchant to a certain location. It says an old man in a town will ask for a merchant to be brought to help develop the town. Helping him is presented as a good deed, and it's mentioned that initially it will be just a small stall, but it will gradually grow bigger. The page also includes item data tables, listing various weapons and armor with their stats and prices, categorized by item type. It also lists consumption items and their descriptions, such as healing or status curing effects. Pokemon Crystal version, a Game Boy Color iteration, offers story and Pokemon changes from Gold and Silver. New features include a puzzle in Alph's Ruins involving Unknown, a larger Pokemon Communication Center in Kogain City, mobile adapter GB functionality noted as under development, an enhanced phone number registration system providing item and sale information, and a fortune-telling auntie who predicts Pokemon encounters. A move tutor old man teaches powerful moves. Gantetsu can now craft multiple Pokeballs from apricorns. The game is manufactured by Nintendo, priced at 3,800 yen, rated 2 stars in difficulty, and is suitable for ages 4 to 65. Compatible games include Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Pikachu, Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver, and Pokemon Snap. This Pokemon Crystal Guide outlines the journey from Wakaba Town to Kikyo City. It details the initial game steps, getting the Pokedex, visiting Mr. Pokemon for the mysterious egg, and battling the rival in Yoshino City. The guide clarifies the rival's Pokemon team variations based on the player's starter choice, Cyndaquil, Totodile, or Chikorita, and their levels. Before challenging Gym Leader Hayato, the guide stresses obtaining HM05 Flash in Madatsubomi Tower to navigate dark caves later. It cautions against premature entry into the dark cave. Battle tips against Hayato are provided, focusing on type matchups. Electric-type moves are ineffective against his Flying-type Pokemon, while Rock-type moves are super effective. Hayato's team is a level 7 Pidgey and a level 9 Pidgeotto. The guide also includes Pokemon encounter lists for routes 29, 30, and 31. Specifying the Pokemon available during morning, day, and night. Screenshots are included. This page provides a walkthrough and strategy guide for the Game Boy Color game, Pokemon Gold and Silver. It covers gameplay tips from Kikyo City to Yubame Forest, including a story chart outlining key events, like getting an egg from Mr. Pokemon after defeating Hayato, and navigating through different routes like Route 32 and 33, and Union Cave. The page details Pokemon encounters in various locations, including Route 32, Union Cave, and Yubame Forest, listing Pokemon available during morning, day, and night. There's also a section dedicated to battling Tsukushi, the Bug-type gym leader, with tips on defeating his Pokemon, including Trancel, Cocoon, and Strike, Scyther in English. It also details the rival battle and the evolved Pokemon your rival will use like Bayleaf, Quilava, and Croconaw, and common Pokemon they will also use like Ghastly and Zubat. This page is a strategy guide for Pokemon Crystal, focusing on routes 34, 35, and 37. It provides details on events happening in these areas and Pokemon that appear at different times of day, morning, day, and night. The guide gives specific advice for battling Gym Leader Akane, Whitney, suggesting fighting-type Pokemon to exploit the weakness of her normal-type Pokemon. It also includes a step-by-step guide to get a Squirtle, Zenigame, from the flower shop in Goldenrod City. There's a section on battling your rival, recommending Psychic-type Pokemon. Finally, it gives battle tips for facing Gym Leader Matuba, Morty, noting his Ghost and Poison-type Pokemon, and suggesting the use of Psychic types to exploit their weakness. This page introduces the Game Boy Color games High and High, known internationally as Demi-Kids. Light version and dark version. It highlights these games as the newest titles in the series and are aimed at players aged 6 to 26 who enjoy Demon Fusion. The page notes that these RPGs offer unique world settings and gameplay, utilizing the Game Boy's communication capabilities for battles and trading. Key features mentioned are the conversation system, where you can talk to demons to make them allies, and the fusion system, where you can combine demons to create new ones or strengthen existing ones. The feature focuses on devils appearing in the mid-game and recommends strong devils, showing lists of devils for areas like Iceland, Sandstrand, Ground, original scenery, and Fireland, indicating which devils appear in the Black Book and Red Book versions. The page explains that depending on which version you play, you will encounter different devils in the same locations. This page is about recommended strong devils from the Black Book and Red Book. It is a guide showcasing devils that can be created in the game, likely referencing the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Children series, though the English title is not mentioned as it was not released internationally. The page details various devils, categorized under headings like Black Book and Red Book, with each devil having stats such as HP, MP, attack, and elemental attributes. Locations like Iceland, Marble Land, and Sandland are also mentioned, possibly indicating where these devils can be found or related to their attributes. Each devil entry also includes combination example sections, suggesting how to fuse or combine devils to create stronger ones. Devils like Nige, Grigori, Onibi, Sylph, and Shurao are among those featured, with descriptions of their abilities and characteristics. In essence, the page acts as a strategy guide, offering insights into understanding devil stats, attributes, and fusion possibilities to help players effectively utilize devils in the Black Book and Red Book games. This page is a game preview for the Game Boy Color title Semicom Dungeon, DRLRUR Arga, a dungeon RPG from Namco. This game brings back the world of Druaga in a new RPG style, focusing on deck building and dungeon exploration. You'll assemble a deck of creature and item cards to conquer dungeons and compete to obtain jewels. Battles are turn-based, and strategic deck construction is key to victory. Even if your HP reaches 0, it's not game over. You can revive in a jewel room, but be warned, you might lose equipped items. The game emphasizes strategic gameplay in dungeon battles and deck building, recommending it to fans of the Druaga and Siren series, and suggesting players check out the Famicom titles Tower of Druaga and the Blue Crystal Rod if they want to further immerse themselves in the world. The next page is a strategy guide for the N64 game Doruaga, a dungeon crawler released only in Japan. This guide focuses on strategies for the early stages of the game, specifically up to Stage 3. It recommends using an Anu God deck and provides example deck builds for different ranks, featuring cards like mages, goblins, slimes, and healing potions. The guide then breaks down strategies for specific stages and boss encounters. For Stage 13 against the Scout Knight, it suggests using magic-based creatures like mages and slimes. Stage 21 against the Amazon Leader advises heading to the northernmost room. Stage 23 against the Golem highlights its slow movement despite high attack power, and recommends using Monster Tamer to recruit golems. Later stages covered include Stage 24 against Succubus, Stage 36 against Chief Lizard, Stage 26 against Queen Isis, and Stage 37 against Seti, each with specific enemy descriptions and strategic advice. For example, against Succubus, Amazon Ness's bow attacks are recommended, while against Chief Lizard, Croax's breath is effective if you have it. The guide also advises using Amazon Ness sandals for evasion against Seti, and emphasizes the importance of mage and Caxaria support. This page is about the Game Boy Color title, Tales of Phantasia, Narikiri Dungeon, a costume collecting dungeon RPG. The game is developed by Namco and priced at 4,500 yen. It is aimed at players aged 8 to 20 and fans of the Tales series who enjoy cosplay. The page highlights the game's key features. Order-made costumes. Players can collect costumes by winning battles and earning CP, costume points. These costumes can be mastered, with over 100 types available. By mastering costumes, players can learn special skills. Changing dungeon maps. Dungeon layouts change each time you enter, creating a fresh experience. Moving to different floors can also make previous floors disappear. Time travel is a feature, allowing players to visit the past and future, changing the adventure's scope, and potentially meeting characters from different eras. Unique battle system. The battle system allows for strategic command selection for party members during battles. Players can use various attack methods, and even trigger critical hits by pressing the A button at the right moment, increasing damage. Commands can be issued to party members to fight automatically based on tactics. The page emphasizes the fun of collecting costumes and the strategic depth of the battle system. It also mentions that dungeons are designed so that players cannot simply go back the way they came, requiring them to find alternative methods of escape, such as using winged boots, special skills, or defeating bosses. This page is an order-made costume chart guide for Tales of Phantasia on the Game Boy Color. It explains how players can mix and match costumes within the game to create unique looks and potentially influence character stats or abilities. The guide is divided into 3 costume systems. The Gangan battle system, focusing on battle-oriented costumes for close combat fighters and hunters. The Special Skills Collection system, which seems to revolve around magic user costumes. And the Wearable and Occupation system, that includes costume types like wearable animal costumes or job-related outfits. Each system uses flowcharts to show how to combine base costumes to create more advanced or specialized costumes. The page features examples of costume combinations and the resulting costumes, such as combining hunter and ranger to get shooter or archer, or combining wizard and sorcerer to get cleric or witch. The guide highlights that these costumes are not just for looks, implying they have gameplay effects, particularly in battle. The character image shown is labeled Master, and seems to be an example of a costume within the game. This page introduces Kakuren Bow Battle, Monster Tactics for the Game Boy Color, an RPG developed by Nintendo. The game is priced at 3,800 yen and is designed for single players, but with communication features available. It's described as an action and strategy RPG, where players explore dungeons, engage in hide-and-seek battles against monsters, and collect items called Montaku. The gameplay loop involves preparing in town by getting items and organizing your party, venturing into dungeons to collect Montaku, and defeating target monsters to progress to deeper dungeon levels. The battles are turn-based and take place in dimly lit dungeons, emphasizing strategic positioning and using vision to find enemies, and skills obtained from Montaku. The page highlights the communication features, allowing players to trade Montaku and engage in battles with each other. One specific mode, called Takupan, involves comparing the size of Montaku to win and gain Montaku from the opponent. The main character is named Kevin, who aims to be a top Montaku hunter. Screenshots show dungeon exploration, battles, and the Montaku collection and trading interfaces, even mentioning the ability to print Montaku. This page is a guide providing combat tips for the game Montac in Dark Dungeons. It covers 3 key strategies. Firstly, it stresses the importance of quick button inputs for faster movement in dungeons, suggesting pressing the A button if you get lost. Secondly, it advises players to change direction during enemy turns to mitigate damage, noting that damage is reduced when attacked from the front. Thirdly, it highlights checking enemy attributes before attacking to exploit weaknesses for greater damage, and includes a table showing attribute strengths and weaknesses. The page also details Perfect Clear and Jewel Get, which involves clearing dungeon rooms completely to obtain jewels, useful for opening sealed doors within the dungeon. Finally, there's a list of events on each floor from ground level to basement 6, detailing items, monsters like Wyneck and Rikruin, and locations like the Underground Research Lab and Montac Center, which are part of the game's progression. This page is a game preview for Hamster Paradise 3 for the Game Boy Color. It highlights the cute hamster raising simulation gameplay where you care for a small and adorable hamster. The game is aimed at players aged 5 to 15 and hamster lovers. It emphasizes daily interaction and care, such as feeding and playing with your hamster, to raise it well. The game features special events and minigames, with 13 types of minigames available in various locations. The game also includes a marriage system for hamsters, allowing players to breed their hamsters and have children. The preview also mentions that stickers can be collected as memories of in-game events. This page is all about raising hamsters in a Tamagotchi-style virtual pet game, possibly on Game Boy. As indicated by the GB banner, it highlights key points in hamster care such as keeping their living space clean, feeding them regularly, and interacting with them in their home and outside. The page details a sticker collecting element, showcasing 106 different types of stickers you can obtain in the game. It lists various in-game situations and actions you can take to get specific stickers. For example, looking at the trees in the forest will get you a hot sticker, or going near the pond in the mountains will get you a brush sticker. It seems the stickers are awarded based on your hamster's activities and your interactions with it in different locations and at different times. There's a table that lists a large number of stickers and the conditions required to obtain them, ranging from hamster actions like looking at you or being hungry, to seasonal events and location-based actions in the game. This page is focused on the Super Milmil GB Happy Mail Town game, which involves making friends by sending emails. The game is aimed at girls aged 4 to 12 who love animals. In the game, you play as Milmil Bear and need to make over 100 friends. You can meet the king to get introduced to friends and write emails to them. Now, when you get a reply and an Omodachi stamp, friend stamp, you've successfully made a friend. The page highlights various locations where you can meet friends, such as the horror house, grove, sea, flower garden, mountains, and lake, each featuring different animal characters. There's a section about mini-games, which involve games like slots and fortune-telling to increase your heart points, which you can then give to the king to receive rewards. The page also explains how to exchange emails with real friends using a communication cable and Sushin mode, allowing you to exchange in-game mail and friend cards. This page is an advertisement for Super Me-Mail, a communication toy for girls. It features a list of characters and instructions on what kind of emails to send to them. The ad also showcases various optional cards for the toy, such as the Super Point Card Volume 1, Me-Mail Bear Friend Card, Special URANAI Card, and Melody Memory Card. The toy is presented as a fun communication tool for young girls to exchange messages. This page is about the Hamster Club 2 game, which is the second installment in a popular manga-based hamster breeding simulation series. This SLG genre game lets you raise hamsters and enter them in breeder cups. It is aimed at players aged 10-20 who enjoy raising simulation games. The game features cute hamsters with various expressions, and the goal is to become a top breeder. The page highlights basic breeding methods, advising players to first buy hamster goods set, and then focus on training. Training involves using toilet and nest box items to teach basic skills and improve abilities like cuddliness and skillfulness. The page suggests focusing on skillfulness initially, then strength, and finally, appearance. It also explains how to train hamsters, starting with skillfulness from 4 categories. The initial focus should be on raising skillfulness to cover lower initial stats. The page then mentions focusing on strength and then appearance later. The points section clarifies the difference between keeping the hamster inside and outside the cage. Keeping hamsters inside the cage for too long can make them stressed. It's advised to take them outside occasionally to relieve stress and prevent injury if they are left in the cage for too long. The page also suggests keeping the cage clean both inside and outside. This page showcases Ham's Cup and Breeder's Cup, which seems to be a hamster simulation game featuring various minigames. The game includes 10 types of minigames, such as a 100 meters dash, hamster wheel race, hurdle jumping, hamster swimming, maze navigation, a water drinking race, and a pole climbing race. It also features Pretty Cup and Lovely Contest, which is a beauty contest for hamsters. The page details how to breed hamsters and raise baby hamsters, including a 4-step guide. It also mentions that hamsters can learn over 200 types of skills, and up to 8 skills can be taught to a single hamster. Cute skills are also mentioned as being relaxing to watch. The game appears to be focused on raising, training, and competing with hamsters in various contests. This page is all about Mario Tennis GB on the Game Boy Color, focusing on how to create strong characters that can even compete in Mario Tennis 64 on the Nintendo 64. It highlights that the goal is to reach level 50 with your created characters. The page suggests different character builds, categorizing them by playstyle. There's the Spin plus Power plus Control type, suited for characters like Koopa. The Spin plus Control plus Speed build, good for Peach. The Power plus Speed type, like Boo. And the Power plus Control plus Speed type, similar to Mario's all-around style. It points out two key things about character development. First, even with identical stats, different characters have different maximum potential, giving serve speed as an example, although they mistakenly mention Harry instead of likely Waluigi. Second, it advises against overleveling stats, as abilities don't keep increasing linearly beyond a certain point. The bottom section details secret items, focusing on rackets and shoes and how to obtain them. It lists various rackets like the normal racket, large racket, small racket, and special ones like silver and gold rackets, alongside drive rackets. Shoe types are also listed, such as normal shoes and light shoes. The advice is to not overlevel your stats once they've reached their maximum potential. Ganbare Goemon Tenguto no Gyakushu, a Japan-exclusive Game Boy Color title by Konami, sees Goemon and Ebisumaru journey across Japan. Priced at 4,800 yen and rated with 3 stars for difficulty, the game combines action, channel, and competitive elements. The story involves the space pirate Dynamitsu and Cat Army Corps invading Edo, prompting Goemon and Ebisumaru to fight back. Players can choose either character, starting in different locations, Kyushu for Goemon, Hokkaido for Ebisumaru, and eventually meeting in central Japan, allowing character swapping. Goemon, using a kiseru pipe and coins, is recommended for beginners. Ebisumaru uses a whistle and hand slaps. The game features boss battles with specific strategies detailed for both characters, including the usage of Goemon's Goemon Impact Mech with special command moves. This page features Grandia, Parallel Trippers for the Game Boy Color, an RPG from Hudson, priced at 4,500 yen. It is described as a Dreamcast popular RPG now appearing on Game Boy Color, targeted towards players aged 10-18 and those who enjoy collecting cards. The page highlights basic techniques you can't miss and focuses on Pinky action. It explains how acquiring Pinky Fruit allows the use of Pinky action. Several types of Pinky action are detailed, such as Pinky Throw for activating switches, Pinky Jump to overcome small gaps, and Pinky Dash for fast movement. Other actions include Pinky Attack to break obstacles, Pinky Rope for climbing, Pinky Pick for opening locked chests and doors, and Pinky Power to move rocks. Flying Pinky is also mentioned as an action for overcoming height differences. The page then discusses battles, explaining the character placement and attack order. It details the action combo system, emphasizing the importance of character positioning, steps 48, to trigger tame effects that boost attacks based on element attributes. It showcases an example of an action combo and lists the elemental attributes for the main character, Justin, Sue, and Fina. Finally, there is a check section about action composition points related to action cards and level upgrades. It mentions that card composition is not fixed, and card levels can change, indicating a card-based battle system with elements of randomness and customization. Momotaro Dentetsu 1 > 2 for Game Boy Color is a color revival of the popular RPG series, aiming at a younger audience. This version combines the original Momotaro Dentetsu and Momotaro Dentetsu 2, originally on the Famicom, with new features. Players can collect cards from defeated demons, create a picture book, and utilize a pause function. The walkthrough covers the game's early stages, from Tabidachi Village to Hanasaka Village, including defeating the Ginzan Oni boss. Players are advised to prepare items and train in Tabidachi Village before heading north. They also encounter Senin characters, who teach skills like recovery, teleportation, and powerful attacks. Defeating Ginzan Oni in Hanasaka Village unlocks card collection for the picture book. This page is a preview for the Game Boy Color game Pia Carrot Iyukoso 2.2. This romance simulation game, aimed at players aged 13 to 30, puts you in the role of a high school student working part-time at the Pia Carrot family restaurant. The goal is to navigate love and work life by raising your character's parameters through various minigames to achieve good endings with the heroines. The page introduces 7 heroines: Amano Mori Azusa, Futaraba Ryuko, Sakuragi Tsukasa, Isawa Tomomi, Kamizuka Yuki, Shijo Noriko, and Midori Sane. Each heroine has specific parameter requirements for their routes, such as kindness, stamina, and study. The page gives tips on how to raise these parameters and trigger events to deepen your relationship with each girl, including dates and conversations. The gameplay involves dialogue choices and minigames to increase stats needed to successfully romance the girls. There are 6 types of minigames available, and these impact your parameters to help get different endings with the heroines. This page introduces Sylvanian Families 2, colorful forest fantasy for Game Boy Color, targeted at girls aged 7 to 15. It's the second Game Boy Color title in the Sylvanian Families series, where players help restore color to a monochrome world by borrowing the power of 3 fairies. The game involves raising flowers in the Sylvanian village school and home, collecting Kira stones from flowers and furniture, and using Yumi points to buy furniture at the forest market. The page provides gameplay advice on using music in school lessons, finding stones by placing furniture in rooms, and finding Shizuku, dewdrops, at the South Lake and School Forest. The page also includes a secret combination table, detailing how different types of Shizuku affect flower growth, noting that Mizu Shizuku requires daily watering, while Komorebi Shizuku can be grown indoors. It also mentions that certain rare seeds are only obtainable through communication, implying a trading feature in the game. This guide highlights several RPG and SRPG titles released for the Game Boy during the holiday season. Doki Doki Densetsu, Mahujin Guru Guru, is a comical RPG based on the anime Magic Circle Guru Guru. Keitai Denju Telefang, Power Speed Versions, is an RPG centered around collecting and battling creatures called Denju. Command Master is an action RPG using a motion sensor. Senkai Ibunroku Juntei Taisen, based on Haushin Engi, is an SRPG with a branching storyline. Rikimon Tenkai Monkol Knight GB is an RPG focused on collecting Monmon items and befriending monsters. Finally, GB Herobot's Robot Pet Battle is an RPG where players raise and battle with robot pets called Heropets. This page highlights several Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles. These include Cute Pet Shop Story 2, a pet shop simulation RPG where players raise animals and compete in contests. Wizardry Empire, Staff of Resurrection, a 3D dungeon RPG focused on party formation. Brave Saga, New Chapter Astalia, an anime RPG with a large roster of characters and strategic combat. Let's Go! Anpanman, The Crown of the Five Towers, an action game where players guide Anpanman up towers. Hamunaptra, The Lost City of the Desert, an action-adventure game based on The Mummy. Flying Dragon Fist Biography GB, a fighting game with a unique mind combat system. The Grinch, an action game where the Grinch steals Christmas presents. And finally, Donald Duck, Save Daisy, an action game featuring Donald's quest to rescue Daisy. This page spotlights diverse Game Boy Color games. Featured genres include simulation, adventure, puzzle, and shooting. Notable titles are High School Baseball, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, a baseball management sim. Air Force Delta, a combat flight simulator. The Kindaichi Case Files, Invitation to Murder, an adventure game. Train Simulator 2, a realistic train operation game. Bust-A-Move Millennium, a bubble-matching puzzle game. And Go! Go! Beckham! Adventure on Memory Island, a goldfish-raising simulation. Additionally, Love Hina Party, a party game based on the anime, is showcased. The page also promotes Nintendo Power, allowing players to rewrite game software using Loppy terminals, with a mention of Korokoro Kirby for N64 and a Super Famicom title revived through the service. This page highlights a collection of Game Boy Color titles under the Etc. banner, featuring a variety of genres, from card and rhythm games to cooking simulations. Dance Dance Revolution GB2 is showcased as a finger-controlled rhythm game sequel with 20 songs and color variations. Pop-In Music GB Disney Tunes brings Disney music to the popular rhythm game series, including over 10 songs like Mickey Mouse March. Deijiko no Mahjong Party is a mahjong game featuring the character Deijiko, allowing players to collect points and use items in matches. The page also introduces Nakayoshi Cooking Series 1, Oishi Kakeyasan, a cooking game focused on cake making with mini-games and recipes, and Pocket Cooking, a restaurant management simulation where players manage a cooking business. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 4. Strongest Duelist Battle Royale, the fourth installment in the popular card game series, lets players duel using cards and collect God cards and Toon World cards. Totsuzin card de battle de game de battle? Is a card battle game based on the anime Finally, Doraemon. No Study Boy Less Than Cuckoo Game Greater Than is an educational game starring Doraemon focusing on learning times tables through minigames. The bottom section discusses the fun of multiplayer gaming, suggesting that playing games is more enjoyable with friends using the Game Boy Color Link cable. This page previews upcoming Game Boy and Game Boy Advance titles. It highlights 2 Zelda games, The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons, and The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, both action RPGs scheduled for release in March. It also mentions Donkey Kong Country, an action game. The Zelda section details the story and characters of Oracle of Seasons, focusing on Link's adventure in Holodrum to rescue the dancer Din, who is revealed to be the Oracle of Seasons. Screenshots show gameplay and character art of Link and Din, as well as General Onyx, the General of Darkness. The Link system is explained, detailing how playing both Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages can unlock additional content and change the game experience. This includes inheriting player names, stat boosts, scenario changes, special events, guest appearances from characters of the other game, and altered starting equipment. The Donkey Kong section showcases Donkey Kong Country for the Game Boy Color, describing it as a powerful action game with updated graphics and new gameplay elements, promising a grand jungle adventure. Screenshots show classic Donkey Kong Country gameplay with Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong. This page is packed with new game announcements, starting with Animaster GB, a new racing game where you train and race creatures called Anima to become the top Anima racer. Then there's True Goddess Reincarnation Card Summoner, a card game RPG where you collect cards and battle using demons as allies. Next up is Looney Tunes Collector Marvin Quest, an action RPG starring familiar Looney Tunes characters, where you'll help Bugs Bunny save Earth from Marvin the Martian. Following that is Cheeky Cheeky Machine Wild Race, a ruleless action racing game based on the popular cartoon. Laughing Dog's Adventure GB Silly Go Lucky is an etc. genre game based on a TV show, featuring minigames and item collection. Pocket King is a strategy game, reviving the Famicom classic King of Kings, where you control Elric and lead your army to conquer stages. Lastly, Victory Teacher Legend Tetsuya Shinjuku Heaven Fortune is an etc. mahjong game based on the anime Victory Teacher Legend Tetsuya, offering 4-player mahjong action. The page also mentions upcoming information on Dragon Quest Monsters 2 and Mystery Dungeon, Windswept Siren GB2. This page introduces the Pikachu Protector and Pichu Cable, accessories for the Game Boy. These popular Pokemon-themed peripherals from Kemco protect your Game Boy from scratches and dirt and enhance gameplay and communication battles. The protector is clear and fits any Game Boy Color and is easy to attach, and the cable is the third in the series of Pokemon communication cables and features popular Pikachu artwork, making Pokemon fans happy. It is made of a material that is easy to grip and prevents slipping. The page also highlights the Pocket Monsters Crystal version as a game to use these accessories with. This page showcases the Pichu Cable, a communication cable for Game Boy consoles, highlighting a special Pichu version. It boasts that this isn't just any communication cable, and features a Pichu mascot for the Game Boy connection port. The ad details product information, including compatibility with Game Boy Color, Game Boy Light, and Game Boy Pocket, priced at 1,980 yen. It also introduces the Togepi cable and a character change kit, offering alternative Pokemon characters for the cable attachments. The page is running a competition to give away these items to 25 lucky readers, encouraging applications to win these fun accessories. This page is an advertisement for the Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Earth, complete strategy guidebook for the N64. This guide, a Dengeki Nintendo 64 Special Edition, covers basic action strategies, scoring techniques, stage, and also includes setting materials detailing the game's world, characters, and items. It is advertised as a complete guide for players of all levels to conquer the game and secure humanity's future, and was on sale for 980 yen plus tax. This page highlights strategy guides for several Nintendo 64 games, It features Pokemon Stadium Gold/Silver, with tips for Gym Leader Castle and Ultra Cup. Banjo-Tooie Adventure is showcased with details for exploring detailed maps. Sin and Punishment: Successor of the Earth is presented as a final battle strategy guide. Mario Party 3 is advertised with hidden maps and minigame information. Lastly, Rockman Dash: Mega Man Legends is featured with a complete strategy guide for challenging events. Page numbers 46, 54, 62, 70, and 74 are listed for each respective game section. The right side of the page uses large, stylized Japanese text that reads "Strategy" vertically down the page. Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64 offers more than just standard battles. Players can relearn moves by defeating Gym Leader Castle and Champion Lance. The Back Cup provides advanced challenges. A key feature allows speeding up gameplay of Game Boy Pokemon games, Red, Blue, Yellow, up to 4x speed. Completing main challenges unlocks a battle against Silver. Coin-earning minigames, played with a transfer pack and Game Boy cartridges, allow players to obtain items for the original games. Each minigame features specific Pokemon: Golbat in Donphan Rolling Race, Hitmontop in Hitmontop's Top, Cleffa/Igglybuff in Pie and Pure Encount Game, Togepi in Togepi's Run, Mr. Mime in Barrier Tennis, and Pichu/Pikachu in Pichu's Target Practice. The next page is all about Pokemon training strategies for battles, particularly focusing on how to raise stronger Pokemon. It emphasizes that even Pokemon of the same type and level can have different abilities depending on how you train them. The page highlights key points for effective Pokemon training. Firstly, it advises on identifying Pokemon with naturally high abilities using a Pokemon Ability Judge. Secondly, it stresses the importance of consistent, steady training rather than relying solely on items or TMs to boost stats. Thirdly, it explains that Pokemon grow stronger the more they battle, and certain Pokemon are better suited for specific stat growths depending on the opponent. Moving on to battle moves. The guide explains that the moves a Pokemon learns significantly impact battle outcomes. It recommends utilizing moves that match the Pokemon's type for increased power, and suggests using stat-boosting moves like Double Team and Minimize to gain an advantage. Finally, it points out the usefulness of status ailment moves like Poison and Sleep as strategic options in battles. The examples and interface shown on the page suggest the advice is geared towards the Pokemon Stadium games on the N64, focusing on training Pokemon for competitive battles. This page is all about strategies for the Ultra Cup in Pokemon Stadium. It gives advice on how to win in this challenging mode, focusing on level 100 Pokemon battles. The page suggests 3 key techniques: mastering long battles by managing HP, acting faster than your opponent using speed tactics, and powering up your Pokemon with held items. It recommends building a strong team with Pokemon that have high stats and powerful moves, suggesting Pokemon like Mewtwo, Hu, and Tyranitar as examples. The page also lists several trainers you will face in the Ultra Cup, along with the Pokemon they use, to help players prepare for these challenging battles. This page discusses the Challenge Cup in Pokemon Stadium 2, emphasizing that both trainer skill and luck are important for success. It highlights that trainers in the Challenge Cup have certain tendencies in their Pokemon choices, and players should check their own Pokemon and devise strategies accordingly. The page breaks down trainer types by ball difficulty, starting with Monster Ball trainers who use strong moves even if their Pokemon are not fully evolved. Then it moves on to Super Ball trainers who have well-rounded Pokemon of various types. Hyper Ball trainers are described as using Psychic-type Pokemon and the move Shadow Ball. Finally, Master Ball trainers are the strongest, possessing powerful Pokemon and diverse movesets. Each trainer within these ball categories is briefly described, outlining their Pokemon types and battle strategies. For example, Camp Boy Hideki in Monster Ball uses Ground and Fire-type Pokemon, while Picnic Girl Kaza emphasizes balanced Pokemon and type switching. Another example is Guitarist Otoko, who focuses on electric and rock-type Pokemon. The page aims to help players anticipate trainer strategies and prepare their own Pokemon teams for the Challenge Cup battles. This page is about strategies for conquering gym leader battles in the Game Boy Color game Pokemon Gold and Silver. It highlights tips and tricks for battling gym leaders, mentioning the Ultra Cup as a challenging battle mode where trainers and gym leaders use level 100 Pokemon. The page focuses on 2 specific gyms: the Kikyo City Gym, led by Hayato, which is a bird-type gym where electric attacks are recommended. It suggests that trainers are weaker in this first gym, making it easier to win even with less powerful Pokemon. The Hiwata Town Gym is also discussed, led by Tsukushi, who uses bug-type Pokemon. The page mentions that bug Pokemon have many weaknesses, making them relatively easy to defeat by exploiting these weaknesses. It also details trainers Ryuta and Sizz and Suzu in this gym, listing some of their Pokemon. The guide encourages players to strategically choose their Pokemon for each gym battle and emphasizes the importance of using status-altering moves like Poison and Paralysis, especially when battling at level 100 in the Ultra Cup. This page provides strategies for defeating gym leaders in Pokemon Gold and Silver. It details tactics for 5 leaders. Akan, Kogane Gym, Normal type, uses Miltank, Pixie, and Pukarin. Avoid fighting types. Matsuba, Anju Gym, Ghost type, uses Gengar, Ariados, and Unaki. Esper type moves effective. Shijima, Tsubaki Gym, Fighting type, uses Nyoroban, Granbull, and Goriki. Use fighting type moves. Maikon, Asagi Gym, Steel type, uses Haganeru, Sunigo, and Ryocoil. Use fire or fighting types. And Tsukushi, Hiwata Gym, Bug type, uses Crawler, and as page also offers general battle advice, emphasizing type matchups, counterattacks, and strategies for status conditions. The Pokemon Stadium Gold-Silver logo is present. This page is a strategy guide for Pokemon battles, specifically focusing on encounters within Pokemon Gold and Silver. It details tactics for facing Team Rocket grunts and various gym leaders. The page highlights the dangers of Team Rocket's poison and paralysis attacks, recommending Steel-type Pokemon as a strong counter. It also warns about their use of self-destruct and explosion moves. Moving on to gym leaders. The page offers advice for Yanagi, the Ice-type gym leader, noting the effectiveness of fighting Call-type moves and cautioning against Ice Beam attacks. For Tsukushi, the Bug-type gym leader, it recommends Fire-type moves and being wary of instant KO moves. Hazuki, the Normal-type gym leader, is described as using cute but powerful Pokemon, so powerful attacks are advised, especially fighting KO-type moves. Finally, for Shiori, the Psychic-type gym leader, Dark and Ghost-type moves are recommended. This strategy guide for Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64 details how to defeat the Elite Four and Champion. For Itsuki, Psychic, use Dark types like Helgar. Against Q, Poison, employ Mewtwo, utilizing Toxic and Psychic attacks. Shiba, Fighting, is best countered by Psychic types like Mewtwo. Espeon is recommended for Corinne, Dark. Attacks. To beat Champion Watanabe, Dragon/Flying, lower his attack, and use Electric and Ice types with fast moves and powerful attacks like Hyper Beam. The guide emphasizes strategic use of abilities and powerful moves. Defeating the champion unlocks a battle with Kanto gym leaders. This page is all about Banjo-Tooie, offering gameplay tips for collecting Jiggies in the game's initial worlds, specifically Worlds 13. The guide explains that there are 30 Jiggies to collect in these early stages, and highlights new actions players will need from World 4 onwards, like using Spring Shoes and the Backpack Taxi move. The page lists various Jiggies within Mayahem Temple and Glitter Gulch Mine, and provides instructions on how to acquire each one. It also points out often overlooked items such as honeycombs and special eggs, detailing their benefits like increasing health and granting extra abilities. Lastly, it mentions cheat codes, including the homing cheat to locate eggs, and the general use of cheat codes within the game. This page is part 2 of an additional action analysis, focusing on new moves and abilities in Banjo-Kazooie. It details 10 new actions players can learn between Worlds 4 to 6, emphasizing their importance for puzzle solving and utilizing sound cues. The new actions showcased include Baby Kazooie, a remote-controlled bomb. Kazooie Gyolai, an underwater attack to break marked rocks. Aqua Egg Aim, which allows aiming and firing eggs underwater. Quote. Wing Attack, Kazooie's solo wing-based attack. Quote. Spring Shoes, granting a single powerful jump or a Karigo. Rucksack Taxi, enabling Banjo to carry items in a rucksack. Quote. Atatame, used to warm and hatch eggs. Quote. Quote. Cramber Boots, allowing climbing of tree-rooted walls. Quote. Oyasumi Rucksack, for resting in the rucksack to recover health. Quote. Spring Jump, an enhanced version of the Spring Shoes jump for even greater height. The page also provides map strategy tips for different areas, like the forest area using the Atame move, the cliff area utilizing boots to rescue Jinjos, the palace area where Kazooie Gyolai is needed at the bottom of a pond, and the wasteland area, where Baby Kazooie is useful for replenishing eggs. Finally, there is a boss strategy section for Grand Hugo, a returning boss, explaining his attack patterns like rolling attacks and bubble shields, and suggesting rolling attacks to defeat him. It also notes that moving around to avoid his attacks is key. This page is a strategy guide for the Jolly's Resort World in Banjo-Kazooie. It highlights Oomba's magic, which turns Banjo into a submarine for underwater exploration. There's a section dedicated to the boss battle against Wuha-Dio, advising players to target the boils on its sides with bomb eggs and then its face. A map of Jolly's Resort is shown, marked with points of interest and collectibles such as jigsaw pieces, musical notes, honeycombs, and jinjos. The page also details the world statistics for these items and explains the symbols used on the map. This Banjo-Kazooie guide offers tips for players, covering various aspects of gameplay. Section A explains doubloons, the in-game currency used to buy jiggies, pages, and jinjos at shops like Pauno's Oddity Shop and Grubber's Rentals. Other sections detail how to find doubloons by drilling into mounds. B. Accessing secret passages for jiggies. C. Activating the UFO's engine. D. Collecting items from transparent fish. E. And obtaining a jiggy requiring advanced jumping techniques. F. Additional strategies include opening the goddess shrine. G. Stopping propellers with ice eggs. H. And entering the big fish's mouth to rescue a character and earn rewards. Y. This page is a game guide for World 5 of Banjo-Kazooie, Pterodactyland. It describes the stage as a vast valley with numerous smaller areas to explore, recommending players memorize area locations due to its size. The guide introduces Oomba's magic, featuring Baby and Papa Tyrannos. Normally players are Baby Tyrannos, but with Oomba's tent magic they can transform into Papa Tyrannos. Baby Tyrannos can open special tunnels, and Papa Tyrannos can activate special switches, requiring players to use both forms to progress and talk to others. The Versus Boss Terry section details the boss fight against Terry. Players are advised to attack Terry while he is flying with eggs. Terry doesn't have particular weak points, but during the fight, liquid is expelled, which should be avoided by jumping rather than running. The regular enemies are also mentioned as easily defeated with rolling attacks. The guide advises focusing on getting to the boss efficiently rather than struggling with enemies. The page shows a map of Pterodactyland with various locations marked, such as Mumbo's Skull Hut, Mountain River, Mountaintop, Spring Shoes Place, and Oogle Boogle Cave, and Unga Bunga Cave. Icons on the map indicate item locations like musical notes, jinjos, honeycomb pieces, and mumbo tokens. It also points out locations for specific actions, such as using the rucksack taxi and spring shoes. This guide helps players conquer Pterodactyland in Banjo-Tooie. Players must utilize various moves and abilities to earn jiggies. Defeating rocknuts with Baby Kazooie, helping cold cavemen by lighting torches with cram boots and fire eggs and giving them a hamburger, and rescuing the Styraco brothers via the train and Mumbo's magic are key tasks. Mimicking the baby T-Rex's roar to earn a jiggy, activating a warp pad in Terry's nest with spring shoes, and reaching the Nuts Tribe's water source by climbing a vine via grip grab are also essential. Ice eggs are used in Bonfire Cave. A terror riding minigame yields jiggies with a score over 70. Finding Terry's egg in 4 specific caves with the Ryuk taxi, and avoiding giant feet in a flat area using the resting Ryuk taxi will also earn jiggies. This page is a guide for World 6, Guaranteed Land, from the game Banjo-Kazooie. It details the map layout across 5 floors, from 1F to 5F, showing different rooms like the workers' room, boiler room, air conditioner room, trash compactor, and Oomba's tent. It highlights Oomba's magic washer, a washing machine, and the boss, Battle Against Welder. The guide gives stats for World 6, showing progress through music notes, jinjos, honeycombs, and mumbo tokens. There's also a strategy section for defeating Welder, advising players to use bomb eggs and to avoid the electric lines on the floor. The next page is a walkthrough guide for Banjo-Tooie, known in Japan as Banjo to Kazooie 2. It provides tips and strategies for various challenges within a level. Section A suggests using a station if a door is locked. Section B explains correctly using batteries to power mechanisms in the building. Section C advises using the beak drill move as a substitute for a screwdriver to deal with screws on boards. Section D humorously mentions using the beak drill to fix a clogged toilet in the workers' room. Section E details an aerial entrance route, requiring hitting switches on the 4th floor to reveal a jigsaw in the sky, allowing access to the 5th floor, and using eggs to break sidewalls. Section F describes a Clinker's Room challenge, where players must defeat all enemies within 200 seconds to earn a jigsaw, and a map of this room is shown. Section G explains how to clean workers' clothes in a washer to get a jigsaw, mentioning workers and gondolas in the garbage compactor area on the 2nd floor. Section H advises using the Goodnight Backpack move in the garbage compactor to recover if pressed, and to reach a switch for a jigsaw. Lastly, Section I warns players in a conveyor belt area to only break blue drums and avoid green drums to prevent poisonous gas and failure. The page includes screenshots demonstrating these gameplay tips and highlights key actions and items like jigsaw pieces and moves. This strategy guide focuses on stages 23 to 32 of Sin and Punishment on normal difficulty. It emphasizes a thorough attack strategy. Stage 23, set inside a train car, features a sequence of enemy encounters, including wolf groups, mole seamer battles, fireflies, jelly seamer, kame, turtles, kangaroo groups, and the birth model boss. The guide details strategies for 4 enemy types: wolves, shoot or sword; fireflies, sword bursts; turtles, sword attacks at close range; and kangaroos, shoot before they jump. It recommends mastering rolling and double jumps, finding a comfortable controller grip, and provides target scores and hit counts for optimal performance. The next page is a strategy guide for the Japanese exclusive N64 game Sin and Punishment. It details the 4 encounters against the boss Mole Seeker. For the first fight, the strategy is to reflect the wolf bullets back at Mole Seeker to damage it. In the second encounter, you must reflect the bombs it throws head-on. The third fight requires dodging flames while continuously attacking. For the final encounter, the guide advises standing directly in front of Model Seeker and using jump shots to attack. Other gameplay tips mentioned include fighting at the edge of the screen to make the game easier, and reflecting light orbs when facing a blue glowing mass to quickly defeat it. The guide also briefly mentions using double jumps and rolling as normal gameplay techniques in Sin and Punishment. This page is a strategy guide for Stage 31 of the Nintendo 64 game Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Earth. It details the flow of the stage and provides tips on defeating enemies. The stage begins with a beach battle, and highlights being careful of the giant fish that attack. Players are advised to use the sword to control the octopus seamer enemy, to prevent them from spraying ink. The guide instructs players to follow Aran, who runs ahead. The stage includes encounters with giant fish appearing from the right, left, and both sides, and shell-spitting clams. The stage culminates in a verse model boss battle. The guide gives advice on how to dodge enemy attacks and use shots and swords effectively. It emphasizes understanding enemy patterns for successful stage completion. The next page is a strategy guide focused on defeating the Spider Seamer boss in the Nintendo 64 game Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. It suggests using lock-on attacks for steady damage as aiming can be difficult due to the boss's movement. This boss, Spider Seamer, is described as the biggest challenge of this stage, emphasizing counterattacks. The guide details 3 attack patterns of Spider Seamer, which change depending on its remaining health. Pattern 1 is active when HP is above 80, featuring small red spiders. Pattern 2 occurs when HP is between 80 and 50, introducing exploding green and red spiders. Pattern 3 is when HP is below 50, with larger spider webs and fire attacks. For defeating the later birth model boss form, it recommends locking lag-on and continuously shooting. It also mentions the blue lightning projectile, advising players to roll to avoid it. The guide briefly touches on differences between normal and hard modes, suggesting manual shooting in normal and pattern recognition in hard mode. This page is a stage page for Stage 32 of the N64 game Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Earth. It highlights key points for conquering the stage, which is a side-scrolling stage, split into sections. The stage flow is detailed across 8 sections, starting in a forest area, moving through a factory area, including a mid-boss fight against Rouge Seema, then back to a forest area, and finally the factory for the Man Seema mid-boss, before reaching the exit to clear the stage. The page provides tips on how to defeat enemies, separating them into close-range and long-range types, suggesting using sword attacks for nearby enemies and shots for those further away, emphasizing accuracy for shots. It notes that Stage 4 and Stage 7 are particularly important scenes to be careful in. The target record for the stage is a score of 47 million points, 1,820 hits, and a clear time of 47 minutes. This guide offers strategy tips for the Japanese Nintendo 64 game, Sin and Punishment. It details how to overcome specific enemy encounters and level challenges. Key advice includes targeting the knob on four-legged lizards, ignoring chasing dinosaurs to focus on forward movement, and utilizing red floating objects to defeat flying centipedes, and the boss, Larva Seeker. Players should use passage steps to evade the giant Rufifian. The guide also warns of forced scrolling sections following item-rich areas. A central strategy involves using red floating objects to attack enemies, particularly the boss, whose head must be hit 3 times for victory. Consuming these objects when health is full maximizes the life gauge. This page is a strategy guide focused on gameplay tips for the Nintendo 64 game, Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Earth, a title that was initially released only in Japan. The guide section titled Enemy Appearance Patterns advises players to learn enemy patterns to cope with the forced scrolling sections, detailing strategies for Flying Ruffian, Bird-type Ruffian, and Centaurus Ruffian enemy types. Another section titled Battle Time is 15 Seconds discusses the Mansion Ruffian boss encounter, suggesting players aim to defeat it quickly with sword combos, given the short 15-second battle time. The guide continues with Ruffian's Last Struggle, covering the final stage 32 and its intense difficulty, focusing on the final Centaurus, and encounters with multiple flying ruffians. It recommends prioritizing shield-bearing enemies. Finally, the page discusses unlocking the hard difficulty level after clearing normal, highlighting the significantly increased challenge and showing comparison screenshots between easy and hard modes to illustrate the difference in enemy intensity and bullet patterns. The page emphasizes that clearing hard mode signifies a high level of skill in action games. This page is an advertisement for the Sin and Punishment manga and novel series. It announces the launch of the manga in the Dengeki Daioh magazine starting in March, and the novel in Dengeki Game Bunko, with a planned release date of January 25, 2001. The manga is described as depicting the death struggle of Saki and Ayachi in comics. There are comments from the author, who states the story of Sin and Punishment is overwhelming, and promises to draw the manga and game versions with the same intensity. Character designs for Blad, Kachewa, and Erlan are shown. The page emphasizes that the manga and novel will delve deeper into the world of the game and explain the mysteries and human relationships within the story, mentioning that numerous mysteries not revealed in the game will be clarified in these adaptations. The novel will explore the encounter between Saki and Erlan, and Achi's background story, promising to reveal the secrets hidden in the game, like those of the ruffians and armed volunteers. The novel's plot is briefly outlined, involving a sudden emergence of humans becoming food and the beginning of a rebellion from a ranch in Hokkaido against a corrupt world. The bottom of the page also advertises a complete strategy guidebook for Sin and Punishment, priced at 980 yen. This page focuses on Mario Party 3 for the N64, detailing hidden maps and minigame strategies. It introduces 2 new party mode map types, Battle Royale and Duel Maps. The page highlights 6 minigames with descriptions and tips. These include Bubble Bobble Bear, Conveyor Belt Combat, Falling Parasol, Coin Collection, Sticky Montage, Face Puzzle, Toge Zokurashu, Enemy Evasion, Clean Up and Put Away, Memory Game, and Kino Pio Quiz, Trivia. The page provides specific strategies, such as prioritizing early parts in Sticky Montage and avoiding the center in Toge Zokurashu. It also explains the meaning of game icons and categorizes minigames by skill type, technique, rapid fire, reflex, and memory. This page showcases various minigames featured in Mario Party 3. It introduces games like Who Can Guess Who, where players identify characters like Koopa Troopa, Goomba, and Boo on stage. Another minigame is Snowball Rolling, where players roll snowballs to knock rivals off platforms, emphasizing snowball size and enemy attacks. Aim with Killer involves aerial combat using bullet bills to shoot down rivals, advising players to use trailing shots. Near Pin Perfect is a golf-like game on a green, where the closest to the cup wins, focusing on green slopes and shot strength. Beat the Drums is a rhythm game, where players repeat drum patterns, with elimination for mistakes. Carry Ice Blocks involves moving ice blocks across narrow platforms, warning about time loss if falling. Hit Mini Koopa is a whack-a-mole style game hitting Mini Koopas popping out of holes, with Mini Koopa sometimes faking appearances. Other games mentioned include Hungry Cheep Cheep, Find Power Mushroom, Bouncy Battle on Bouncy Balls, Thwomp Puzzle, Motorboat Race, Climb, Block Tower, and Go Go! Rocking Horse. Each minigame description provides a short gameplay overview and strategic tips for players. This page is a strategy guide for the Akazu no Ma, or Forbidden Room dungeon in the Nintendo 64 game Shiren the Wanderer 2. It details 5 iron rules for players to follow before entering this challenging dungeon, including upgrading swords and shields to at least +50, bringing essential items like healing herbs and scrolls, preparing for traps, and considering bringing a partner character like Asuka or Marmot, who are highlighted as strong allies. The guide also introduces the concept of golden rooms within the dungeon, where rare and valuable items can be found, and monsters in these rooms drop unique items or turn normal drops into gold. It recommends fighting specific monster types like Marojiru and Kengugu in the golden rooms to obtain more items. The page lists examples of items obtainable in different dungeon areas, such as Shutendu Mountain upper level, Oni Island, the Mid-Belly Well, and shallow and deep sections of the Akazu no Ma, and mentions that items dropped in the golden room are often Gitan, the game's currency. This guide outlines strategies for the Akazu no Ma dungeon. Early floors, 1 to 19, emphasize careful play and leveling up, particularly utilizing the Gazelle Dojo, 13 to 15, and defeating dangerous enemies like Gandrara, 16 to 30. Floors 20 to 35 require the Flame Seal to counter Arc Dragon fire attacks and Itetsu tanks, moving at double speed. Floors 36 to 44 offer a leveling opportunity, with advice for handling shield-breaking Saihan monsters. Floors 45 to 49 introduce challenging enemies like Dailepu, Paopaon, and Shibiri Sonori, requiring specific tactics and items like purification scrolls. Floors 50 to 60 demand the Mountain Seal and Two Seal for protection against Gandra, Paopaon, and Tiger Horns. After floor 60, the priority shifts to reaching the exit, with Megatoros and Tamarin Kappa noted as potential threats on later floors. Finally, finding Induba cloths on floors matching their age, e.g., Induba aged 11 to 19 years on floors 11 to 19, is encouraged. Mega Man 64 features several subevents that enrich gameplay. In Central Town, players donate Zenny to repair buildings like City Hall, improving Rock's reputation. Liptown. Lakeside Park houses What is Missing from the Painting, where finding red paint unlocks the Art Museum. The Art Museum sub-event involves displaying unique items, attracting visitors, and ultimately granting the Goddess Crystal. The Lakeside Park TV station offers 3 minigames: Beast Hunter, Balloon Fantasy, and Time Attack Race, each awarding distinct items like the Zelt Saber, Mystic Orb, and Electronic Orgol variants. Lastly, the Cardin Forest Subgate presents the Recover Dangerous Bombs sub-event, requiring players to locate and disarm bombs quickly to maintain Rock's positive reputation. This Rockman DSH strategy guide details several sub-events. 3 Bad Kids and Their Hideout involves finding the kids, gathering items like a saw and garbage, and completing their hideout to obtain armor parts. 3 Bad Kids and Item Exchange allows item trades with Jim for broken electronic components and the X-Buster. Sick Girl Ira-chan requires donating 15,000 Zenny to the hospital for flutter parts. Whereabouts of the Lost Bag Full of Money involves finding a bag near the library and returning it for a boomerang supporter. Where is the Vegetable Shop's Wife involves rescuing the shop owner's wife from Cardin Forest and receiving the Sunlight item. Catch the Bank Robber tasks players with stopping a bank robbery for a Zenny reward. The guide also lists special weapons and parts with required materials, and warns about actions that negatively impact Rock's reputation. The next page is an advertisement for the 8th Dengeki Game 3 Grand Prizes, an event seeking submissions in 3 categories: game novels, game illustrations, and game comics. Each category offers prize money, with the grand prize winner receiving 1 million yen plus extra rewards. The deadline for submissions is April 10, 2001. The awards are organized by MediaWorks. This page is announcing 2 new animal games with a New Work Flash headline. The main highlight is Checker Flag is Yours, which is promoting Mickey's Speedway USA, referred to as Mickey's Racing Challenge USA. The text states that even the presidential election is a big dead heat, compared to this game. The page also mentions 3 other games with short descriptions and page numbers. Animal Forest on page 79, Animal Leader on page 80, and Eco Fight, Eco Delta on page 81. The games are described with catchy phrases such as, "Become friends with forest kawaii animals," for Animal Forest, "Aim for the top of the poop world," for Animal Leader, and "Rescue the sunken large ship," for Eco Fight. This page is about the N64 game Mickey's Racing Challenge USA. It highlights this racing game as a fun experience for everyone, from kids to adults, featuring Disney characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck racing in diverse American locations. The game boasts a variety of courses representing different parts of America, from icy Alaska to hilly San Francisco and natural landscapes of New Mexico. Players can pick up items from barrels to get speed boosts or attack opponents. The game supports up to 4 players for multiplayer fun. Playable characters mentioned are Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Pete, and Goofy. There are also mini-games where taking damage causes crashes and losing after 3 hits. This page is all about Animal Forest for the N64, the Japanese version of Animal Crossing. It introduces the game as a communication game where you, the protagonist, live in a forest with unique animals and build relationships with them. The game world has its own time flow, with seasons changing and events happening. The page highlights several aspects of gameplay. It mentions that there are various ways to become friends with the animals, like writing letters to communicate with them using the post office. There's also a message board where you can read announcements and write your own messages. Another feature is creating melodies on a board, which are used as town tunes. Screenshots showcase different seasons like spring, summer, fall, and winter, and even a Christmas event with decorated trees. The page also mentions the use of controller pack for multiplayer, so friends can visit each other's forests. Overall, it's emphasizing the charming and social aspects of Animal Forest. This page is focused on the Nintendo 64 game Cubivore, Survival of the Fittest, originally titled Animal Leader in Japan. This quirky title is developed by Hiroyuki Matsumoto, Gavin Ito, and Hajime Tachibana, and is generating buzz for its unique concept. The game is slated for release in Japan in February 2001. Cubivore puts you in the role of a weak, pig-like creature who needs to survive in a world populated by blocky animals called Dubas. The core gameplay loop revolves around hunting and devouring these Dubas to get stronger. You start weak, wandering the fields and looking for prey. By locking onto enemies and attacking, you can defeat them and eat their meat. A key aspect of Cubivore is metamorphosis. When you eat enough meat from a Dubu, your pig character transforms, changing color and shape, becoming stronger and acquiring new abilities. The page highlights the coupling mechanic as well, suggesting breeding and raising offspring to become even more powerful. The game world was once vibrant with color, but the Dubas have lost their color, and it's the player pig's mission to fight and hunt to restore color and yase, wildness, to the world. The article emphasizes the addictive nature of eating enemies and evolving your character, promising a unique and enjoyable 3D action experience. This page provides an introduction to the Nintendo 64 game Eco Delta. It is described as a deep-sea battle strategy simulation game where sound plays a crucial role. The goal is to rescue a large sunken submarine by supplying it with energy to float it to the surface. The gameplay involves operating a submarine, navigating varied sea terrains, and collecting energy elements hidden on the seabed. The page details the gameplay flow as a step-by-step guide. First, locate energy elements using radar and a scout submarine, then activate plants to collect energy, and finally, deliver the energy to the target submarine. It also highlights the importance of protecting plants from enemies called Hound, using gunner units. The game features different types of plants with varying energy generation capabilities, and enemies that attack the plants and the player's units. This page is an advertisement for a Christmas gift promotion. N64 games are highlighted as prizes, including Pokemon Stadium 2, described as a greatly upgraded version compatible with Pokemon Crystal on Game Boy, encouraging players to raise strong Pokemon for battles. Dance Dance Revolution Disney Dancing Museum is another prize, promising fun dancing to Disney music. Mickey's Racing Challenge USA, described as a 2001 release featuring Mickey Mouse racing across America, is also featured as a prize. Game Boy games Dragon Quest II and Grandia Parallel Trippers are also mentioned as prizes. Other prizes include a Grinch plush, a Ryoko Hirosu calendar, a book card, a Game Boy Color console, and Pokemon plush cushions. A contest is detailed, with entries due by January 5th and winners to be announced in the March issue. Screenshots show Pokemon battling in Pokemon Stadium and Mickey Mouse Kart racing, likely from Mickey's Racing Challenge. This page previews upcoming games for Nintendo 64 and Game Boy. For the N64, Dance Dance Revolution Disney Dancing Museum, releasing November 30th for 7,800 yen, receives an 8/10, praising its accessibility and Disney soundtrack. Game Boy's Pokemon Crystal version, priced at 3,800 yen and launching December 14th, gets a 7/10. It's similar to Gold and Silver, but with new content and mobile compatibility. A new software calendar lists additional releases. N64's Mickey's Racing Challenge USA is slated for January 21st. Game Boy has a packed December, including Hamster Paradise 3, Pokemon Crystal version, and several other titles. January sees Donkey Kong 2001 and other releases. The page uses a 10-point rating scale, with 10 being a must-buy and 4 or below being disappointing. This page is a walkthrough guide for the Nintendo 64 game, The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, specifically focusing on how to make the characters Anju and Kafei happy. It outlines a questline that consists of 9 events that need to be cleared to achieve this outcome. The events are listed sequentially and provide details on where to go, when to be there, and what conditions need to be met to trigger each event. The first event involves being asked by Anju to look for Kafei, which leads to receiving Kafei's mask. Event 2 is about Anju mistaking Link for someone else at the Stockpot Inn and receiving a room key. Quote. The third event is making a promise with Anju to meet later. Event 4 involves receiving a letter for Kafei from Anju. Quote. Event 5 is delivering Anju's letter to Kafei by posting it in a mailbox. Event 6 is finding Kafei, who is located in the back room of the Curiosity Shop. Quote. Event 7 is giving Kafei the Pendant of Memories. Event 8 is infiltrating Sakon's hideout with Kafei. The final 9th event is the reunion of Anju and Kafei at the Stockpot Inn employee room, resulting in obtaining the couple's mask. The guide details each step required to complete this side quest in Majora's Mask, ultimately leading to Anju and Kafei being together and rewarding the player with the couple's mask. Power Pro Kun Pocket 3 for Game Boy Advance is a new title, not a port, promising a unique experience. The game continues the story of Power Pro Pocket 1, starting with the protagonist's marriage, but quickly takes a turn when he's resurrected as a modified human by a professor and forced to fight evil organizations as a baseball player. Screenshots reveal scenes from the wedding, a laboratory, and gameplay. The success mode features parameters like stress, memory, and progress. Series director Mr. Fujioka emphasizes the game's baseball focus and the importance of success mode. He indicates the game will incorporate elements from both previous titles and suggests returning characters from Power Pro Pocket 2. Fujioka encourages players to anticipate the game, stating that it will be similar to its predecessors, with characters like Ryokun returning. The development team is working hard to deliver an enjoyable experience. The next page introduces Monster Guardians for the Game Boy Advance, describing it as a full-fledged strategic monster training RPG. The game involves commanding units of monsters in 4-player battles and clearing stages. Players can level up monsters, combine 2 types to create new ones, and develop unique monsters. Screenshots show in-game battles with monsters on a grid-based map and a menu screen illustrating monster parameters that can be customized. The page also mentions mobile system connectivity for training and item purchases. An interview section titled, GB Advance is not just for GB users, features Masaki Yonioka, representative director of Mobile 21 Company, Limited. He explains that Mobile 21 develops software mainly for mobile GB systems and GBA, including Monster Guardians. He notes that while mobile system compatibility is important, their focus is on creating enjoyable games for a wide audience, not just mobile phone users. They are currently working on 79 GBA titles and are interested in exploring cube development. Yonioka describes the GBA as relatively easy for programmers to develop for and highlights its high display capabilities. He believes GBA games should appeal to users familiar with Game Boy, particularly elementary school students, as well as light game users who find complex games like PS2 titles too difficult. He mentions that if development continues smoothly for 12 years, they believe they can achieve surprising things. This page introduces Mail de Cute, a new style adventure game for the Game Boy Advance centered around exchanging picture postcards with cute characters. The game uses a mobile phone system where players can send bottle mail messages and items to other players randomly via a server. It features mini-games like mini poker and slot machines, and collecting items in the in-game town. Players can also get advice from Mr. Oki Raku Mambu based on selected items. The game is set to be released on February 22, 2001, and also features downloadable minigames via the mobile system, including Minigame at 100, with 15 different types of simple minigames. Examples of minigames shown are Papa Catch, where you catch a falling character, and Chicken Race, and a memory-based Memory Up game. The page also hints at the idea of national events and time attack challenges being possible through the mobile system. Konami YY Racing Advance for Game Boy Advance is a comical kart racing game starring 8 or more playable Konami characters. Players race on courses themed after Konami franchises, utilizing items and strategic skills across various game modes, including win-lose, minigames, free run, and time attack. Each character possesses unique stats and abilities, reflecting their source material. Characters like Goemon and Pastel offer stable running, while Dracula excels at high speed and Moai at top speed. Courses include the space-themed Parodius course and the baseball-themed Power Pro course with related obstacles. Screenshots showcase the game's comical style and character-driven gameplay. This title is a spiritual successor to previous YY crossover racing games. This page is a game preview for Momotaro Matsuri on the Game Boy Advance, an RPG that is part of the Momotaro series. The game is described as being full of RPG fun with a strong story, focusing on rivalries, specifically highlighting Momotaro and Kintaro as rivals. Battles take place in fields, and the gameplay involves Yugi challenges. The page also features an interview with Sakuma Akira, a key person in the Momotaro series, where he discusses game creation, especially focusing on minigames and the Yugi aspects, expressing that he put a lot of effort into these elements. He also mentions that this game is considered one of the 3 pillars of the Momotaro series, alongside Momotaro Dentetsu and Momotaro Densetsu. This page showcases the Game Boy Advance game, Dodgeball Fighters, a sports game from Atlas slated for spring 2001. It's described as a straightforward and exhilarating dodgeball game, perfect for handheld consoles. The game features super orthodox dodgeball, where players have HP and use powerful killer shots. Simple controls are emphasized, and multiplayer battles are possible. The page introduces 2 characters: Sakura Ryutaro, the passionate captain of the team, and Nogihara Ayane, the energetic and caring team manager. Screenshots highlight the gameplay, showing off the wide shot and devastating killer shot techniques. The League Match mode is a central feature, where players compete against teams across Japan to become the best. Various stadiums will be available as stages. Interestingly, the game emphasizes strategic depth, stating that simply throwing balls won't guarantee victory. Player parameters, formations, and tactical thinking are crucial. The developers are noted as staff who previously created Kunio-kun's Dodgeball, suggesting a similar style and feel. This page showcases 2 Game Boy Advance games. Firstly, it highlights Tweety and the Magic Jewels, a 4-player board game featuring popular Looney Tunes characters. Players journey around the world collecting jewels and engaging in mini-games triggered by landing on red squares. The game's narrative focuses on rescuing Tweety. Secondly, the page introduces Top Gear GT Championship, a racing title emphasizing high-speed racing exceeding 300 km per hour. It boasts realistic GT cars and tracks with customization options, and mentions the inclusion of cars like the Castrol Tom Supra. This racing game supports up to 2 players. The next page focuses on Rockman EXE, known internationally as Mega Man Battle Network, for the Game Boy Advance. The page introduces the game's story, which is set in the 200X era, where network crimes are rampant. It details 2 story episodes. The first episode, School Jack, is about a school being taken over by network crime after an open-range event. The second episode, Internet Mission, is about the aftermath of the School Jack incident, where the metro line is down due to viruses, and Rockman must restore the security program. The page highlights key characters including Neto and his Netnavi Rockman, Dekau and Gutsman, Mail and Roll, and Saroma and Woodman, as well as Enzon and Blues. Screenshots show gameplay elements like battles and navigating the internet world. There are also descriptions of the game's mechanics, such as obtaining new skills after battles and encountering viruses in the network. The next page focuses on 2 games. Furai no Shiren 2, Oni Shurai, Shirenju, a roguelike RPG, and Mario Tennis GB. For Furai no Shiren 2, the page reveals 30 omajinai, which are like cheat codes or spells that players can use to obtain various items and effects in the game. Items range from recovery herbs to powerful weapons and stat boosts. The article mentions that these omajinai are very rare and valuable. The second part of the page shifts to Mario Tennis GB and details how to unlock hidden characters and courts. It explains that by linking the Game Boy Color Mario Tennis GB game with the Nintendo 64 Mario Tennis 64, you can unlock Yoshi, Wario, Waluigi, and Bowser as playable characters in the N64 version. To unlock Peach and Mario, you need to clear specific conditions in the story mode of Mario Tennis GB. For other courts like Castle Court, Tropical Court, Jungle Court, Garage Court, and Star Court, you need to achieve high scores in minigames or complete exhibition matches in Mario Tennis GB and link it with the N64 game. This page features game tips and tricks, starting with Mega Man Xtreme for the Game Boy Color. It reveals secret Hadouken and Shoryuken moves, familiar from Street Fighter, that can be used in the game. The guide uses numbered screenshots to show players how to navigate to a hidden room in Stage 2 to obtain these special attacks. Moving to the N64, there's a section on Perfect Dark, focusing on completing challenges. It explains how to use the combat simulator to load data, select challenges, and specifically clear a challenge by defeating the simulant. Next, the page details a monster catching strategy for Monster Rancher 2. This guide outlines a method involving the Thing's Hermitage, acquiring a gazelle horn, utilizing the warehouse, lowering monster levels, and then returning to Thing's Hermitage to successfully catch a monster. Finally, there's an alternative, easier method to reach the hidden room in Mega Man Xtreme, this time using the rolling shot and charge shot techniques, but it notes this is only accessible in hard mode. A manga comic strip is also included, seemingly for humorous interlude. This page features gameplay tips for 2 N64 titles. 2. Furai no Shiren 2, Oni Shurai Shirenjo, which translates to Shiren the Wanderer 2, Attack of the Oni Castle, and Perfect Dark. For Shiren the Wanderer 2, there are 3 tips. 1 on easily befriending Hamakichi by bringing back 5 castle parts after completing the beginner dungeon 6 times. Another about companions appearing while waiting, suggesting placing items on the floor. And a third about obtaining the powerful Fire and Wind magic sword by finding a diary in the blacksmith shop in Shunohara village. For Perfect Dark, there are also 3 tips. 1 on using the rocket launcher effectively by using homing mode and slightly adjusting aim. Another on getting gold rank with the laptop gun in the shooting range. And finally, a tip for the shooting range involving researchers facing each other, implying a specific strategy or scenario within the game. The bottom of the page includes information about the magazine, mentioning the upcoming 21st century, and new hardware releases beyond Game Boy Advance and GameCube. There's also a prize list for readers who submit tips, offering toy coupons for different ranks of submissions, and instructions on how to submit content via postcard or fax to the magazine. This page announces the end of the LandNet DD service in February 2001 for the 64DD, which is described as disappointing news, encouraging readers to look forward to new hardware. The article discusses how members will be supported after the service ends, including refunds for remaining balances and prepaid services. It mentions that exclusive DD software development is being halted, with titles being canceled. Looking to the future, the article expresses anticipation for mobile adapters and GameCube for network gaming. There's news that the Game Boy series has reached 100 million units shipped worldwide by November 2000. Finally, the page promotes the Tokyo Game Show 2001 spring event in March, highlighting it as the first TGS of the 21st century, and mentioning it will be open for 3 days with expectations of GBA software being showcased. This page is showcasing upcoming events and game promotions along with game rankings. The World Hobby Fair event in January is highlighted. Set to take place in 4 locations across Japan, described as the largest scale game and hobby event in Japan. It promises to reveal new games for N64 and PS2, and entry is free. A CM section announces that the 5th generation Momotaro character has been decided by Aza Kudo for a Game Boy software commercial, specifically for GB Software 1 greater than 2, Hadu Sun. She is also appearing in TV commercials and is currently featured in CMs. Several promotions are detailed. For Mr. Driller 2, there's a campaign where you can win a trip to Hawaii by answering a quiz. Candies related to Mr. Driller are also on sale. For GB Brave Saga, purchasing the game gives you a chance to win a limited edition gold X-Kaiser figure. For Siren 2, a user appreciation campaign allows groups of 3 to win Siren stickers. Game rankings are provided for both N64 and Game Boy games and GBA popularity. In the N64 and GB Top 10 ranking, Mario Tennis 64 is at the top, followed by Nisenin Mondai Q2 and Dungeon Monsters 2. Finally, there's information on how to apply for the various campaigns, using postcards and details of prizes like Hawaii trips and character goods, and for those wanting Momotaro goods, they can write to a provided address. This page is a humorous Christmas-themed comic strip page titled, Happy Merry Xmas. Please take care of Shiomen in 2001 too. The comic starts by referring to Shiomen 64 as the last of the 20th century. The first strip shows a character dressed as a bunny girl offering a kiss to a Mario-like character, who refuses. Another strip titled Righteous Fist Thrust shows the girl hitting the Mario-like character with a stick. White Blade Catch panel then depicts a failed attempt to block. Papa's Cosplay shows the Mario character dressed as a caricature of Mario's father, with the girl commenting that she thought it was Mario again and calling him Papa. Rolling Rock Fall shows the girl pushing boulders onto the Mario character, suggesting she is annoyed by his impersonations. Finally, Chance depicts the girl seemingly taking advantage of a situation where the Mario character is vulnerable, perhaps to get her Christmas kiss after all. The bottom text mentions Marioper 3, likely a nickname for Mario Party 3, as being fun to play, and suggests readers play it with friends during the New Year holidays. It also mentions enjoying Luigi in the game. A manga comic titled Mogu Mogu Big Pizza Showdown, inspired by Mario Party 3, is presented. The comic features characters resembling Mario, Luigi, and a girl, all enjoying pizza. The story involves a pizza delivery and the unexpected appearance of an older man who believes the Luigi-like character is his missing brother. Despite the strange encounter, the characters enjoy their meal. Below the comic are sections titled Shiomen's Essence and Shiomen 64, displaying reader submissions with artwork and comments. The submissions praise the color usage in a Pokemon Crystal illustration, express curiosity about a Shiomon-kun Santa's present, describe a psychedelic illustration, and encourage the creators. A Merry Xmas, best wishes for next year message concludes the page. This page is an advertisement for Mario Party 3 on the Nintendo 64. It promotes 70 brand new minigames. The game is advertised as being on sale to great acclaim for 5,800 yen, excluding tax, and is compatible with the Rumble Pack. The page is filled with artwork of various Mario series characters, including Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Wario, Waluigi, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Daisy, Yoshi, and others, alongside screenshots showcasing some of the minigames in the game. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game Dekibito Communication. It's a simulation game where you become a store manager and work alongside cute characters called Dekibito. The game is slated for release in spring 2001, with the price yet to be determined. The ad highlights features like enjoying conversations with the Dekibito and working together to liven up the store, showing anime-style characters in a shop setting. This page features a Succubus's difficult question quiz related to the Game Boy Color game Densetsu no Ogre Battle Gaiden, Zenobia no Uji, Legendary Ogre Battle Gaiden, Prince of Zenobia, which was not released outside of Japan. The quiz presents 3 multiple-choice questions testing player knowledge about the game, with the incentive of winning original goods for those who answer correctly. The page also showcases the game's box art and some in-game pixel art related to the quiz questions.